All right. What's going on, everybody? I'm Wyatt Mascarella. I'm going to go over my story and kind of what it went from being a junior in high school, barely hitting 200, to fast forward a few years to a four-time all-conference player, an All-American, and signing a professional contract with the Kansas City Royals, right? I've been exactly where you are, and if you're watching this video, you've obviously taken to my message, so I've been in your same footsteps that you're in right now. So just listen up and let's see if this can be useful for anybody and everybody, right? The biggest thing that I think I've learned over my time is understanding that everything does happen for a reason. And the reason I struggled so heavily as a junior was because I was in my own way. My brain didn't allow me to succeed to what I thought was possible or what I thought should have happened. I was holding myself back. And when I held myself back, what was the issue, right? My brain wasn't allowing myself to understand that good things still happen with bad outcomes. Good processes lead to good outcomes and bad. For me, I thought because I worked harder than everybody else that all of the outcomes should just be perfect all the time, right? And in reality, how dumb is that? You can work hard as much as you want and you can still get nowhere in life, because you don't know, A, what to do, how to do it, or when to do it. So that's why having someone like myself is a huge advantage for a lot of hitters out there. But what I would have done to have the knowledge I have now when I was a high school player is crazy. Crazy. I lost out on hundreds of thousands of dollars to play this baseball game because I was in my own way and I didn't have any guidance to get me to where I needed to be, right? So the way that I think about it, again, is I struggled so mightily, like barely hitting 200 in high school. Let's look at that again. In high school, where everybody now that you see that's a prospect is hitting 400 with 20 bombs in 24 games, right? Like, it's crazy. It's crazy. And I think the thing that I'd always thought is that should have been me, right? Well, yeah, I could have done that. But what kept me from doing that? Myself. This disproportionate belief that I should never get out in a game where you fail 7 times out of 10 and you're a Hall of Famer. So I think some perspective was something that I really lost in all of it. But going back to all of the things, right? High school coaching and all of that stuff. I can't tell you how many times I hear people talk about how my high school coach just doesn't like me or doesn't do this or doesn't do that. Well, the reality of the situation is if you were good enough, you'd be playing, right? That's the reality. My high school coach I still talk to today. Coach Suds, if you're watching this, thank you for everything that you did. But I think at the end of the day, me struggling so mightily allowed me to perform the way that I did in order to get 4 all-conference titles, 4 times of being on that committee of an all-conference player where all of the coaches are coming around and voting for me as a player, which is pretty cool, right? And then being an All-American, which is a huge feat in itself. So a little bit about my story. I went from hitting 200 as a junior to 3 offers out of high school to going to community college my sophomore year, and then having, honestly, 35 plus schools offer me a scholarship to go play. And I think it was around 20 teams messaging me, asking what number I wanted in the draft, all of those things in 3 years. And then fast forward, I played 2 years at one of the best schools in the country at St. John's, and now I'm realizing it was all supposed to happen. And then I signed a free agent contract with the Kansas City Royals and realized all of those things set me up for that opportunity. All of the people that I got to meet, all of the things I got to do was all set at what I do right now today with coaching players, elite hitters trying to get to that next level and understand that they actually do have more, right? So back to the gist, right? Having such a rough junior year and then being able to kind of turn that around. And I think something that happened a lot was those long nights of really thinking about, man, what is happening? Why did I quit football? Why did I quit basketball to do this game? And I can't even hit 200 in high school. And I think those conversations that you have with yourself put into perspective at how serious that is, right? You need to have that belief that you can do whatever you want, obviously, but at the end of the day, you have to be willing to commit to something and not give up. Be willing to show up every single day and still do the work, even if you're not as motivated. That's what discipline is, right? Being able to do it even though you think it might not work. And I think that put me into a perspective of understanding what the options were, right? I still got phone calls on August 1st, whatever that day is, where you can get a phone call as a junior. I still got phone calls from Division I schools across the country, but that doesn't mean I got an offer. That doesn't mean I got what I thought I should have, right? I only ended up with 3 offers out of high school before committing to play Division I baseball. And now for me, I probably shouldn't have done that. Looking back on it, hindsight's always 20/20, right? I realistically probably should have been a junior college player. I had all the projectability, all the potential to do all of the things, but the vision was so skewed because I needed that D1 title. That was me. That was a me issue. And I think my best advice that I give a lot of players that I work with now, like, JUCO isn't the worst thing by any means. It's a great opportunity to understand what is happening and how things do go, right? So let's go back to high school. Junior year, we're doing all of the things where I'm sucking and I can't do anything to get out of it. I couldn't hit water if I fell out of a boat, is what a lot of people say, right? And the reality was I was in my own way. Fast forward to the summer, have a good summer, play in front of some good schools against really good competition. And that elevated my confidence, elevated my play. It allowed me to do the things that I knew I was capable of doing. Right, so we fast forward to the fall. I take it very seriously about putting weight on. At that point, I was probably 6'3", like 180 pounds maybe. So I had some size, but not nearly enough to compete at the college level. And for me, I took it a huge onus on myself of putting weight on. I ate until eating was a chore. I lifted until I couldn't lift anymore, right? And again, there's that work ethic that we talked about of being like, I always outworked everybody. I just never got the results that other people were getting. And at the end of the day, again, that's a me issue. I didn't know what I was doing, how I was supposed to do it, and when I was supposed to do it. That's why I'm here, right? So keep going, and we go through the fall, the winter, the spring comes around. Now I'm in a position where I'm really like 210, 212 pounds. I'm faster, I'm stronger than I've ever been. I'm just in a position to where I can be so much more of a low effort swinger versus what everything else happens, right? You watch people hit, you're like, oh, I need to hit the ball 1,000,000 miles an hour. I need to do everything so fast. And in reality, I just needed to relax. Find the barrel. The barrel will do all that I needed to do, right? So fast forward from junior year of hitting 200 to then being an all-state player, hitting 370, I think. I can't remember the number, with 8 home runs, all of the fun things, right? All conference, all state. And then we move into college. So I had a big updraft. Worst year, best year, right next to each other. And then we go into college. And the college scene is a tough transition for any freshman. You're the big man on campus, now to the lowest man on the totem pole. And you have to earn every piece of respect that you think you deserve, right? So fast forward through that. Had some injuries in the fall, all the fun stuff that you can imagine when you're doing non-baseball activities. And what I mean by that is we had a boot camp when we first got started at school, and hyperextended my knee, all the things, thought I tore my meniscus, all the crazy stuff that was very avoidable, but it is what it is. I made a decision I probably shouldn't have. I had some really good friends while I was out there, but again, looking back on it, I probably should have made a different decision. But fast forward to that, we're moving into the first weekend of the year, my freshman year, and catching a bullpen for our closer. Our closer's doing like a touch and feel, have our dummy standing in, I'm catching, and he skims the knee of the dummy and it hits me square in the thumb, and I end up breaking my thumb, right? Nobody told me it was broken. I got x-rays done. My coaches all said it was just for lack of a better word, it was just a bruise and a contusion, right? Instead of telling me that I had literal spurs of bone popped off floating around in my thumb while I continued to play for the next 40 games, right? So let's go through that. First weekend, we were playing at Texas Southern, all the good things, right? We end up losing Friday, end up winning next 3 games. I caught all 4. First game of Saturday, I end up tearing my hip labrum. So I have a broken thumb and a torn hip labrum, all in the matter of 5 days. As an 18-year-old kid, 19-year-old kid at that point. And I'm playing because obviously I earned the job. Why wouldn't I play? Let's get out there and let's play. End up going through that year, injured the whole year, playing all of the things, not having the best offensive year. But you know what? I can look back on it and say I battled with what I had. I was swinging one-handed, and I had a torn labrum that I couldn't rotate with, and still ended up hitting, I think it was like 260 at the college level, Division I level, and the Horizon League, which was very cool. Ended up getting an all-conference honor as a freshman, which was very awesome. So moving forward from there, I ended up leaving that school. That decision was made after I found out that I had a torn hip labrum and a broken thumb that wasn't told to me. All of the interesting things, right? Fast forward, I need hip surgery. I walk into a doctor, and he basically tells me I need a hip replacement if I don't get this handled now. Fast forward, August, I'm getting it done. So August gets done. I go to the local community college by me, which is really good, very good baseball. Coach Jared Wacker gave me an opportunity to go play there, and they're still a perennial top 25 team in the country every year when they play. And I met some of my best friends on that team that I still talk to this day. And it was such a good experience, right? I had this surgery. I couldn't do anything in the fall, but for some reason, these guys still allowed me to be a part of their team and really be a part of who they were. They went to the JUCO World Series the year before, and they opened me with ginormous arms of, hey, we need you. Let's go get this thing done, and let's do it again, but let's go win this thing this time. So we get through that point. I get cleared in March. I think it was March 10th, and we played our first game March 13th. So we're down and playing all the good things. We had a great year. I ended up becoming an All-American that year with all of my buddies, all of my guys that we put in hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours getting after it. And I think that experience is something that formed me for the rest of my life. I was around so many guys that had that chip on their shoulder for not getting to a good level or Division I, Division II level out of high school. And here I was, the guy that was a bounce back coming back because I was at the wrong place for me. And I think I got to see that perspective of I always worked hard, and now I have guys that are working for what I had. Now I have to work even harder to get back. So it was such a cool place to be in and understand of kind of what it was like and all of those things, right? Now, as I mentioned earlier, in that All-American season, I ended up getting a ton of interest. I ended up getting literally 35 plus schools offering me at the end of the recruiting period. All of a sudden, I'm getting calls from people saying, hey, what's your highest offer? Let me go talk to my department and I'll get back to you. And it was like a 3-hour thing, and I was getting as much money as I was anywhere else in 3 hours. It was crazy. What a cool experience of being around good people like I was, as well as learning who I was and becoming the next step of the player that I needed to be to get to that professional level. The professional level was always the goal, but college was a byproduct to get me there, and I needed to find the best place for me in that next step. And this is a hard thing for anybody. You need to be willing to wake up every single day and do the same thing over and 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 over, and understand who your coach is and who allows you to be you. I walked into a situation after that when I committed to St. John's. Okay, so St. John's University is my favorite place. I love that place. The coaches are phenomenal. All the coaches that are still there are still great people. And I had the luxury to work with or to play under Coach Ed Blankmeyer, one of the winningest coaches in NCAA history. Wow, what an experience. I walked into a program that was really, really good. My highest goal, I wanted to play for a top 25 team. St. John's was that. The year before I got there, they went to the Clemson Regional, which ironically we ended up going to the next year, but went to a Clemson Regional, and they lost their starting catcher, who was a senior. He ended up getting drafted by the Mariners, all of those things. But they had a dominant staff and a dominant team coming back where all I did was fit into the lineup. They had the other 8 spots. They just needed someone like me to step in and be able to elevate the game and allow myself to control the pitching staff that was already so good. And I couldn't have walked into a better fit. I walked into a coaching staff with Ed Blankmeyer, Mike Hampton, George Brown, all of these great people. Josh Ake was the volley my junior year, and then Danny Bethea my senior year. Like, all these people were amazing at allowing you to be you. Such a huge piece in college baseball. You have to be you, because if you're not you, you're not going to perform. And at the end of the day, they have to win to keep their job. So if you don't perform, You're finding a new place to play. And that's what allowed me to be the best player that I could be for them that year. So after an All-American season, I ended up going to St. John's and hitting 340 that year with 5 homers. I ended up hitting 2 homers in the NCAA tournament in an elimination game against Morehead State at the Clemson Regional. The first game against Vandy, I had a knock. I think I had 2 hits against Clemson when we lost. I was the last out that year. Ended up hitting a ball that I thought was a homer that would have, I believe, put us in the lead by 1. And I thought it was a homer, and the guy ends up catching it at the wall. What can we do, right? I hit it as good as I could. Unfortunately, wind shifts, turns, whatever, all of the things happen. But ends up ending a season that I never thought would end. I thought we were as good as we could have been, and we were ready to make a run for Omaha, and I think that was the coolest part about it. We bought into an idea of getting somewhere because of this historical university that allowed players to do that, and the coolest thing was we actually believed enough that we could do it. Even if we were down, we were there. We were not out. We were going to put our best foot forward, and we were going to do the things that we needed to do, right? Now, fast forward to my senior year. All conference, my junior year, first team all conference, awesome. Hit 340, thought I should have gotten drafted, had a lot of conversations, just nothing materialized, right? Fast forward to my senior year, I meet with almost every single team except the team that actually ended up signing me. In the fall of my junior year, I had a great senior fall, and we're moving through this whole process of Wyatt's got to get ready to graduate. So we have to think about these things too, right? We're not just an athlete. We're a student athlete before all of that comes down to it. And I had to do a ton of credits because my advisor, my junior year, ended up telling me the wrong information that held me back quite a bit. So I had to take 42 credits my senior year in order to graduate on time in 4 years. Crazy. So took 2 full semesters of 18, including the spring, a summer and a winter class, all of those things to be able to get done what I needed to get done with labs and all of these different classes because I was a science major. I wasn't just a sports management major that could take everything online. I had to go to class and do certain things, right? So all of this stuff happens. I have a ton of stress on me from the academic side because I'm overdoing what I didn't realize I had to do. I got told I only needed 30 credits to graduate. Fast forward, I need 42, which is a big difference. It's another semester to a lot of people. And so it's an interesting piece of what we're going through and how we're going through it. So we get through that part. My senior year, very different. My junior year, I only had 13 walks. My senior year, I ended up with 40. So needless to say, I got pitched a little bit different. But the biggest thing, my brain, just like my junior year of high school, really started to affect what I was capable of doing. I was so confident my junior year that I could hit anybody at any point at any given time because I proved it. Now I'm doing worse against guys that I should be better than. Exactly what this does. You start to inflate the brain too much, and then all of a sudden it doesn't allow things to go the way that it should. And in reality, what is that doing, right? It's not giving me the chance to be the player that I can be, and I was too focused on other things that I wasn't able to do what I was supposed to do. Lucky for me, I was still defensively capable. Offensively, I had flourishes of being very good, and I still got an opportunity to play professionally with the Kansas City Royals. But I think the biggest thing of this whole video, right, is to just show that I've been exactly where you are. Whoever's watching this, you obviously have taken to my message because you are very similar to me. In terms of that, what I would have wished for to have myself now helping me when I was a high school player go through these bumps and these lulls of everything that's going on, right? I wasn't in a position to put myself in a perspective to sit back and look and really experience what was happening. It was all about the next thing. It was all about these things that I couldn't control, and that's what led to my downfall my senior year, just like my junior year. And then shocker, it carried over to pro ball when I couldn't do the things that I was capable of doing because I put way too much pressure on myself for XYZ reason, right? Oh, I'm a free agent. Someone could cut me at any point. All of the dumb excuses that people make to have a reason for why things go bad. And in reality, you just need to look in the mirror and be like, hey man, it wasn't for me. I didn't do the things that I should have done. I needed to look at it from a different perspective. right? So think about it like this, and this is the way I'll end this video is, my story's crazy. I went from 3 offers to 35 plus full offers, scholarship offers, saving me thousands and thousands and thousands, 6 figures worth of college in money, right? To then having every school or every team offer me, or every team talk about offering me money, but then it never materializing. So every ebb and flow that goes through this process of understanding what you're good at and how you're good at things, all of those things led to what I do now, which is helping people just like me navigate that exact same scenario. I think too often people look at a hitting coach or a hitting consultant and say, well, they haven't gone through the hard stuff. It was just easy for them. And that's why this video is being made. See how I went from a guy with a sub 200 or 200 average as a junior in high school to an all-state player to an all-conference for 4 straight years with an all-American, all of those things while still struggling. It can happen. No matter where you're at in the process right now, if you're an elite level swinger, an elite level player, no matter where you are right now, anything is possible if you know how to do it, when to do it, and why you are doing it. All of those things, right? You have to be in a position to realize what that looks like and how you're going to get to that next step. If you can't get to that place, the goals aren't going to be achieved. And I think the biggest thing, again, reiterating perspective. You have to get out of your own way. You have to allow yourself to do the things that you are dreaming about every single night right now and enjoy the journey. That's how you're going to get to where you need to get to. And again, thank you guys for hearing my story. I appreciate you. There will be plenty more YouTube videos coming out for me on different things that I talk about, teach, all of those things. This is just the start to a very, very lengthy process. But again, anybody going through this process and you have something you want to do and work with me, go to my Instagram. My Instagram will be linked below this video. DM me the word barrel and tell me you watched this video, because at that point, I know you're very serious about what kind of thing you're trying to do and what you are trying to get to. That's the thing, and that's the player that I want to work with and help get to you where you can achieve your goals at any aspect of life. Thank you, guys.